You started in 1976, focused towards execution and not just thinking about ideas.
You believe in that idea and have the passion to take it forward. Well, even there is no word called startup. And the dream was to take the microprocessor and change the world.
Focused towards execution and not just thinking about ideas.
Starting point is having a bunch of people together. Success is never immediate. You have to fight for success. It's the fact that India is at the right place at the right time.
Welcome to Galgotias University, sir. And we know all your accomplishments. Thank you, Saksham, for telling us all that. My first conversation with you, I'm so lucky to be here, would be that you started in 1976 when computer technology wasn't even a word being spoken in India. How did you think that this is what you want to do?
Well, even there was no word called startup. So when we were starting out, 6 of us used to work for a very large company called HCL. And we found that we were a small little blip in that large company. And lots of times we felt that it wasn't getting the right attention. So one day, 6 of us decided to leave. And there was a group meeting and 15 people said, yes, we're all going to start with you. Finally, only 4 people left. Rest of them chickened out. They must be kicking themselves now for having missed out on, being very, very wealthy, I guess. So at that time, the dream was the microprocessor was just making its appearance. And the dream was to take the microprocessor and change the world. So that's where it started.
Amazing. Just like you said that 15 people thought of joining in and only 4 joined in and rest of them chickened out. Even today I feel like even when I was in college, we used to discuss ideas every day. Ye karenge, wo karenge, let's do this. This is, everybody wants this today. Then what happens after is that wo idea reh jata hai. People just get happy with validation that okay, people love my idea and people don't execute. What do you think is missing in people today, or even then, what do you think they should think and focus towards execution and not just thinking about ideas?
See, I think having a great idea is the starting point. But the other starting point is having a bunch of people together as founders who believe in that idea and have the passion to take it forward. And the way things happened in the past are things that are no longer true. When we started, as I said, there was nothing called startups, there were no funding available, nothing available. And 6 of us just put some money together, somebody borrowed, somebody sold a car, and we put together 1.86 lakhs. That's what we started with. And today, the corporation is $14 billion in 70 countries, with close to 300,000 employees. So, the whole story, and that's why I called my book Just Aspire, because the whole story is about aspiration. If you have the aspiration, you will succeed. So, just before I became president of the company, my co-founder Shiv Nadar said that, look, none of us have studied management, but why don't you go and study something before you take over? So I was shunted off to Michigan University, and I did a small little course with Dr. C.K. Prahalad, who was very well known then. And Dr. C.K. Prahalad in the class taught me a concept, which is why I called it Just Aspire. He used to say A is greater than R. What does A is greater than R mean? A is aspiration, R is resources. So if you have the aspiration, resources will have. So 1.86 lakhs, $14 billion, $15 billion. So what is it? It's all about aspiration. And that's why I called it Just Aspire. If you aspire, you will succeed.
Just Aspire is a very strong title, and I'm sure when you were writing the book, there must be some points which was very hard to revisit for you. which was uncomfortable and you were not sure that should I put it in the book or not. Would you like to tell us that where you felt that okay, that was this uncomfortable back then, but today I am what I am because of that?
Well, actually, when I look back at my career and life, you have ups and downs in anything. Whether it's a country, whether it's a company, whether it's a person, ups and downs are part of life. So each and every down period teaches you something. And as I always tell startups, the more failures you have, the better you will be prepared for the next startup. And today, the good news is that in India, failure is accepted. In my time, failure was not accepted. So it's a very major change that's occurred. And I think when I was writing the book, I decided to bear it all. I did not want to do away with any part of my life. So I wrote exactly what I had gone through. Like for example, when I used to be early days of my life as a career in sales, I was just learning. And as I was learning, I learned the hard way. And going and selling calculators, sitting on a truck, going to a sugar mill, coming back on a truck to Bombay was part of what I did. And today when I talk to my children and everybody else, they can't even think of sitting on a truck. So, but that's what life is all about.
I think that made you who you are, because you must be thinking that if I could sit on a truck and sell calculators, I can sell anything.
Yeah.
So about your book, Just Aspire, and I know all the students here are thinking that okay, we'll come out and we'll have immediate success, and we have this idea, and we have AI for backing us, we have everything, we have ChatGPT, we're making like ideas and formulating them every day. But it's not for everyone that everyone is going to get immediate success. And I think Just Aspire is just that. What do you like to say to students here who think that success is only immediate?
Well, you see, whether you're studying or you're working for somebody or you're creating your own company, success is never immediate. You have to fight for success. And you have the passion to actually take it right through the course that you need to take. Nothing happens overnight. But the key point I want to tell everyone is that you need to remember one thing. Do you want to be proud of carrying a card which has a Microsoft logo? Or do you want to carry a card that says AKC Private Limited, it is after my name? Well, you need to decide what you're going to be proud of. Are you going to be proud of a Microsoft logo, or are you going to be proud of your own logo? So, the method of measuring success for a university or an engineering school or etc. has to change from I got a 25 lakh package to saying I created a company. So out of Galgotia, how many companies got created? It should be the new measure of success. The old measure of success has no meaning. Right? And one of the biggest opportunities that exist today is the fact that India is at the right place at the right time. We are one of the youngest countries in the world. Right? All other countries like Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Europe, US are all aging countries. सब लोग बूढ़े हो रहे हैं, हम लोग यंग हैं. Okay, so वहाँ के जब लोग बूढ़े हो, वो बूढ़े जो हैं, वो अपनी कंपनीज भी नहीं चला सकते. There is a situation today in Japan where a company that was started by a person 40 years ago doesn't have a successor today because they don't have children. So that company is available for a very small amount of money. You can go and buy that company. So these kind of opportunities never existed before. The other thing about India is that we have a very large population. This population is negative as well as positive. Negative in the fact that we have to feed so many mouths. positive in the fact that we have a large market. If you look at India today, our economy is today dependent on Indian market, 80%, 20% on the export market. Totally opposite for China. So during this period when Trump and all other countries are becoming me-oriented, that is, they are only bothered about themselves and not bothered about somebody else, and it's becoming a unipolar society. In this environment, India is best placed because we are not dependent just on exports. That doesn't mean we should not. But the point is that we are safe because 80% is a domestic market. And therefore, it's a terrific playground for startups to create innovations and test them here, grow them here, and scale globally. Never think of the market being India only. You need to think of the global market.
Coming to right place and the right time, just like when you started, computers and technology wasn't that big and people didn't know much about it in India. I think the same is happening with semiconductors. I know you are spearheading a lot to bring semiconductors and making sure that we're not only in service industry but also product industry. What do you think the students should know and how can they be part of the semiconductor race which is going on around the world, and how can we lead that?
You see, the interesting part is that you can't find a product today that does not have semiconductors or software. Maybe a pencil, okay? But most products around us, all products around us, lights and drivers, and everything that you see around here, everything is a semiconductor. So semiconductors are at the heart of everything. And one of the things that we saw during Operation Sindoor was that what became very successful was anything that was done remotely rather than physically. And this remotely can be only done when you have hardware and software and semiconductors. So semiconductors are super critical for anything. But what I've been advocating for the last 2.5 years very specifically is that the country today is dependent only on the service industry. The service industry has served us well. But the challenge that is there, because of our large population, we are having a GDP per person of $2,600. Where is China and Korea, etc., sitting? $20,000 per person, $30,000 per person. US is sitting at $90,000 per person. Now, if we are going to continue to do what we are doing, just being in the services business, we don't add value. We don't create anything. We don't do innovation. Very few innovations happen in service industry. They're mainly process oriented. We now need to move from being a services-led industry to a product-led industry. And we need to design our own products. So the institutions like Galgotia should now look at changing their curriculum to teaching students how to make products. One of the things that's gone away from the engineering schools and the AICTE is the fact that nobody is taught how to make a product. That has to change. And I saw some good examples of here in Galgotia where you formed some relationships with people like Tata Technologies, etc., where they're going to teach you how to make a product. I think that is essential. So every part of engineering has to have a product to be made. Till now, every student aspired to be a software engineer. Why? Because of salaries, right? Good life, I'll get married to the right person, I'll have 16 EMIs and I'll be very happy. Okay, but that life is over. Reason for it is that artificial intelligence and automation are impacting the software industry very deeply. Lots and lots of jobs are going away from the software industry. It's not that, a lot of people believe ChatGPT will do all my programming. That's not true. Because ChatGPT cannot do reasoning. ChatGPT can write a physical program easily, but ChatGPT doesn't have brains like a human brain. And that is essential for writing great code. So, yes, the lower end will all go away, but the higher end will still stay. So, I think because of this change in environment, change in the situation of AI and automation, students should now start thinking about engineering careers, management careers, legal careers, etc. Because that is where the future is. The future is in designing, innovating, and making for India and the world. And that is where we must all work together in making it happen. Education, research, industry have to work together in bringing this big change. And then only can we move from $2,600 per person to 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 50,000 in the next 30, 40 years. My dream is that, and that's what I talk about in my book. If you read my book, the introduction of the book talks about how India should become a product country. That's my dream. It's there in my introduction. And the last chapter of this book is my dream on electronics, which is where I set up a foundation to make electronics happen. And therefore, the semiconductor piece is very critical to it. But what we are doing today in semiconductors is not good enough. We are working on creating semiconductor plants that will manufacture semiconductors in India. But that does not complete the ecosystem, that does not complete the story. We now need to design products in India. Let's say we need to design our own laptops, we have to design our phones, we have to design our own CCTVs. Everything in electronics today we import. Now today as a country, if you go back to the history of the British when they came to India, they started by being in India to do trading. So East India Company came to India, they started with trading and then became rulers. Currently, as a country, we are a country of traders. We don't make products. All software products are made by the US. All hardware products are made by China. What do we make? When we started HCL, we used to make PCs, we used to make servers, we used to make laptops, we used to make all those things. All Indian brands are vanished. Totally replaced by China. That's a very bad situation to be in. And that's where the opportunity is there for children today to go and make products. Because today, if you look at Trump and the policies that are happening today, they're restricting exports, they're not allowing you to get real technology, and they will put sanctions on you. And when the sanctions happen, what will we do? We won't have the software and hardware that we used today. One particular company called Nayara Energy here, they were using Microsoft software and SAP software. Some fellow in their head office said, stop giving service to them. Nayara Energy's complete mail system was stopped. This happened to us when we did Pokhran, blast, when we decided to be in the nuclear club. We were denied technology. We made our own atomic energy capability. We created our own space rockets. We've been to Mars, we've been to Moon, we are doing more and more. All that has happened because it's our own technology. So, very critically as a country, we now need to be technology sovereign. Have our own technology in every area.
100% I agree, and after listening to you, I think the combo everyone uses engineering and MBA, and then I'll get into the big fours. We should forget about that now.
Well, actually, the government does not want to give any business to Big Four anymore. A decision has been taken by the government to say enough is enough. And the Big Four are always taking away a whole bunch of business that Indians would get.
So, last question before we start the Q&A. Just Aspire is a book written after so many decades of your experience. Who should read this book and why?
Well, actually, I think students should definitely read this book because each and every student will find something about their own interest. You don't need to read chapter after chapter. You can even read individual chapters. They are all complete in themselves. And I talk a lot about how people should prepare for their life ahead. And in my mind, what is very important for all students, etc., is to have a very range of knowledge. I talk about it. For example, it's like a tea. The top of the tea is many areas that you should know. The middle of the tea, you should know your subject in depth, but other subjects also are required. So when I started as chairman of IIT Hyderabad 15 years ago, I told my director, I said, look, I do not want nerds coming out of this institute. I want people who have worldly knowledge and have other areas that they know about. So please fill up your top of the tea with your interest areas. For example, my interest areas are reading, writing, sports, my interest areas singing. A lot of these areas that I have developed over the years. And so I have a very deep understanding of lots of other things. But absolute depth, I can say I know about electronics.
100% I agree. Like with IQ, you need EQ as well. Otherwise, you're not a complete person.